In the vast stretches of the wild plains, where the winds sweep without mercy, and the grass whispers secrets of ancient struggles, a singular figure lumbers into view, massive, majestic, yet marred by a grotesque affliction. This is no ordinary sight. It is a raw and unfiltered glimpse into the brutal reality that nature often conceals beneath its serene veneer. Here stands a bison, its fur matted and stained, its imposing frame burdened by a wound so horrific it seems almost alive in its own horrific way. The lesion, open and festering, crawls with a dark congregation of parasites, a veritable nightmare festering on the titan of the plains. It is a scene that shocks, unsettles, and yet commands an unflinching gaze, for what it reveals about the hidden battles waged beneath nature's surface is nothing short of fascinating. Parasite infestation in bison is a grim, intricate dance of survival and decay. The invaders are varied, ticks embedding their barbed mouths deep into the flesh, botflies laying their eggs in the warmth of the skin, and a host of microscopic pests invisible to the naked eye. These parasites pierce the skin, burrow into tissue, and suck the vital juices from their host with relentless efficiency. The bison, despite its thick hide and fortitude, is no match for this army of tiny tormentors. The wound you see is not merely a superficial injury. It is a festering battleground where parasite larvae gnaw away at flesh, creating lesions that become breeding grounds for bacterial infections. This persistent assault causes intense discomfort, weakening the animal's immune system and leaving it vulnerable to the harsh elements and predators lurking nearby. The parasite's presence is a paradoxical blend of horror and intrigue. To witness it is to confront a primal reality. Survival is as much about withstanding invasion as it is about strength. The parasites exploit every vulnerable crack and crevice in the heart of the African savanna, where the golden grass sways gently in the breeze, and the sun casts a warm glow over the land. A chilling sight emerges. A white lion, a creature of majestic beauty and rare elegance, lies in a state of distress. Its once proud mane, a halo of ivory, is now matted and stained, a stark contrast to the vibrant landscape around it. But it is not the lion's color that draws the eye. It is the horrific wound that festers on its flank, a gruesome testament to the relentless cruelty of nature. As we draw closer, the reality of the situation becomes painfully clear. This lion is not merely injured. It is the victim of a horrific insect infestation, a dark tale of survival that unfolds in the most grotesque of ways. Insects, often overlooked in the grand tapestry of life, can be both the architects of beauty and the harbingers of doom. In this case, they are the latter. The wound on the lion's side is a gaping maw, a festering pit that has become a breeding ground for a swarm of flies. These tiny, unassuming creatures, with their iridescent bodies and incessant buzzing, are the true villains of this story. They lay their eggs in the open wound, and within hours, the larvae hatch, wriggling their way into the flesh, feasting on the lion's very being. This is not just a simple case of a lion being bitten. It is a gruesome invasion, a parasitic assault that turns the majestic predator into a mere shell of its former self. As we observe this tragic scene, we must confront the reality of insect infestations in the animal kingdom. The white lion, a symbol of strength and beauty, is now reduced to a canvas of suffering, a stark reminder of the fragility of life. The larvae, known as maggots, thrive in the warm, moist environment of the wound, their bodies growing larger as they consume the lion's flesh. This grotesque process is nature's way of recycling nutrients, but it comes at a horrific cost. The lion, once the apex predator, is now a victim, its body ravaged by the very creatures that are often dismissed as mere nuisances. The infestation does not stop at the surface. As the maggots burrow deeper, they introduce bacteria into the wound, leading to a systemic infection that can spread throughout the lion's body. The once mighty roar of the king of the jungle is now replaced by a low, pitiful moan, a sound that echoes the despair of a creature caught in the merciless grip of nature's cycle. Beneath the veil of twilight in a remote savanna, a sight both grotesque and fascinating awaits those rare few who dare witness the raw ordeals of nature's less glorified side. Here, in the shadowed underbrush, lies a leopard, once a proud and agile hunter, now a canvas of decay, a living fossil in a dance of survival and torment. Its skin, mottled with the stains of struggle, bursts with a dreadful tapestry of wounds, festering with an unholy congregation of serpents. These serpents, writhing like sinister threads of fate, have claimed the leopard not simply as prey but as a host. turning its flesh into a grotesque ecosystem where predator and parasite merge in a dark symbiosis. The wound itself is a cavernous nightmare. What began as a mere bite has blossomed into a gaping maw of inflammation, red and raw, festooned with scales that glisten under the failing light. Clusters of tiny, venom-secreting snakes coil in and out of the lesion, their slick bodies wriggling eagerly, siphoning nutrients and spreading bacterial invaders. The air around the leopard is thick with the stench of rot and decay, a pungent perfume of suffering amplified by the relentless assault of the infestation. Maggots burrow in the dying tissue, joining the snakes in their parasitic feast, while flies hum a frantic drone, drawn by the morbid banquet. Snake infestation in large mammals such as this leopard is a chilling example of nature's grim cycles. These snakes, often species adapted to exploit wounds, circumvent the host's immune defenses by living beneath the skin, feeding off blood and decaying tissue. Their presence transforms the injured animal into a necrobiotic garden, each serpent weaving its way through the carnage with cold precision, their forked tongues flickering in and out, tasting the horror. The leopard's agony is continuous, a torment that blurs the line between life and death as the infestation grows unchecked. Scientifically, this phenomenon presents a dark symbiosis known as ophitic meiosis. Unlike typical parasites that hide invisibly beneath fur or feathers, these snakes invade openly, their gleaming bodies a grotesque adornment clinging to the host's hide. This infestation reveals much about vulnerability and the unyielding cruelty embedded in natural selection. The leopard, normally a symbol of power and grace, is transformed into a grotesque host with pulsing veins and exposed muscle tissues serving as corridors for the serpent's relentless advance. The pathology in the vast, untamed wilderness of the American plains, a solitary bison roams, its massive frame casting a long shadow against the setting sun. But this is no ordinary bison. It bears a gruesome wound, a gaping hole in its side, a testament to a horrific wasp nest infestation. As the camera zooms in, the sight is both shocking and captivating. The wound, raw and pulsating, is a dark portal into the bison's suffering, revealing a world where nature's beauty intertwines with its brutal realities. The bison, a symbol of strength and resilience, now stands as a haunting reminder of the fragility of life in the wild. The wasps, those tiny yet formidable creatures, have made their home within the bison's flesh, a grotesque symbiosis that speaks to the darker side of nature. These parasitic wasps, known for their insatiable appetite, lay their eggs inside the bison's body. As the larvae hatch, they feast on the living tissue, creating a festering wound that attracts more wasps, perpetuating a cycle of torment. The bison, unable to swat away the relentless attackers, becomes a living buffet, a host to a swarm of buzzing horrors. The sight is enough to make even the most hardened nature enthusiast recoil in disgust. Yet, it is a stark reminder of the raw, unfiltered reality of life in the wild. As we delve deeper into this unsettling phenomenon, we uncover the intricate relationship between the bison and the wasps. The infestation is not merely a tale of suffering. It is a complex interaction that highlights the delicate balance of ecosystems. Wasps play a crucial role in controlling populations of other insects, yet their methods can be brutal. The bison, in its weakened state, in the shadowy corners of a forsaken alley, where light barely dares to tread, and the air clings heavy with the scent of decay. A tragic figure lies writhing in quiet torment, a dog, caught in the merciless grip of a snake infestation so grotesque, it seems ripped from the darkest pages of a nightmare. The wound, a horrifying mosaic of crushed flesh and sinus torment, is the epicenter of an infestation most vile, where serpentine invaders have taken refuge beneath the skin, transforming living tissue into a breeding ground for venomous chaos. This is no ordinary injury. It is a festering gulf of horror that gnaws at the boundaries between predator and prey, where the very essence of nature's brutal cycle is laid bare in sickening detail. As the camera lingers on the wounded beast, one can see the festering wounds peppered with the remnants of slithering invaders. Their slimy bodies merge grotesquely with the mangled flesh, their mouths leaving trails of venom and decay as they burrow deeper. The opening is emulsified with pus and dried blood, a symphony of infection thriving in a warm, dark sanctuary beneath the poor creature's skin. Each writhing snake, no longer just a cold-blooded hunter, but a parasite turned predator on a living host, exhibits a peculiar kind of savagery. Their scales glisten wet against the gore, and their eyes, cold and unfeeling, reflect a world indifferent to suffering. The phenomenon of snake infestation in canines is a grim spectacle that unveils nature's cruelty on a microscopic battlefield. Certain snake in the frozen expanse where the white canvas of snow meets the steel-gray sky. A singular horror unfolds beneath the fur of one of nature's mightiest dwellers. Imagine a polar bear, a symbol of raw Arctic power, yet now a host to an insidious and grotesque menace, a horrific wound crawling with writhing snakes. This is no ordinary injury, but a festering, oozing curse. A living infestation twisted into the very flesh of this colossal beast. The snakes, slimy invaders, coil and slither in endless macabre dance along torn arteries and shredded muscle, turning the bear's majestic white pelt into a nightmarish tableau of decay and survival. This phenomenon, though it sounds like a nightmarish hallucination, is a stark reality of parasitic invasion in a changing ecosystem, where boundaries blur and unnatural encounters multiply. The snakes, perhaps displaced by shifting climates or human disruptions, find refuge in an unlikely host. Each snake is a delicate yet venomous lodger, their scales slick with mucus, their forked tongues flicking restless in the cold air. They burrow into open wounds, not by choice but by desperate instinct for warmth and sustenance. Their bodies excrete enzymes that liquefy flesh, feeding the serpentine horde and accelerating the decay of the bear's tissue, transforming what should be healing scars into festering nests of rot. Underneath the bleak frozen tundra and ruthless Arctic winds lies a dark biology at play, a symbiosis tinged with horror. The snakes feed off the necrotic tissue, their tiny fangs inflicting more damage with